the difference between building and running away. I've been in business for over 30 years and I've built teams, scaled certifications internationally, and grown my income from scraping by to consistent 5 and 6 figures and beyond. And along the way, I've really learned something critical about how our internal state affects our business results. It's about nervous system regulation, stress management, and sustainable leadership. And here's what I've discovered. Most entrepreneurs think they're growing their business, but they're actually running from discomfort. And if you can't tell the difference, you stay stuck at the same income level for years. How do I know this? Because I did myself, yeah? But in this video, I'm going to show you how to reorganize the difference between genuine business growth and disguised avoidance, because your revenue, your visibility, and your leadership depend on it. So number one, growth, stabilize, running creates chaos. What I mean by that, most entrepreneurs think that constant activity expands progress. I know, I used to do this, like massively. I just worked like a Trojan, but my income level just never moved. It was just stayed consistently the same. Didn't matter how much work I did. You put a new offer out, new rebrand, new platform, new website, new funnel, new niche, new launch strategy. All that movement feels productive. But the real growth doesn't look like a constant motion. Real growth, it feels like get more focused, making fewer but better decisions, not even working as much, going deeper instead of wider, and building on what's working. Instead of running away, it's what happens when something gets really uncomfortable. And instead of improving it, you just abandon it. And here's a personal example. There was a period where my income was really steady. I was sleeping well. The stress I'd carried for months had finally lifted. Things were flowing. Then I made a business decision I knew wasn't right for me. Nothing dramatic happened externally, but internally, everything shifted. Sleep got worse, tension came back, and the flow just stopped. And here's the truth. When you're internally unstable, your business becomes unstable too. So just ask yourself, are you changing direction because it's the right strategic move, or because you're uncomfortable with where you're at? You're rebranding because you've generally outgrown your positioning, or because going deeper with your current brand, it just feels hard. There's tension. Real growth feels steady, but there will be tension. There'll be an excited tension. But running, it feels frantic. It also feels safe. So number two, how we disguise avoidance as intuition. Here's when it gets tricky. Conscious entrepreneurs are really good at making avoidance sound spiritual. This doesn't feel aligned anymore. My intuition is telling me to pivot. I've evolved past the version the universe is redirecting me. And sometimes that's true growth. But sometimes that's just fear wearing a spiritual costume. And in my work, I see this tension all the time. The push and pull between wanting to grow and wanting to stay safe. I know I've lived it many times, regardless of what the income level is. That tension isn't a problem. It's actually fuel. But if you run from it too quickly, you lose the very thing that would have pushed you forward. And here's the key difference. Integration deepens what you have. Avoidance, it replaces it with something new. There was a time that I delayed a launch quite a number of times, actually, not because I was afraid of failure, but because I could feel I wasn't ready. My energy just wasn't clear. I waited, I got internal state right first, then I launched. Give you a prime example. I was going to launch the Oracle code in January. When I tuned into it, it just felt off. Now, did I do this because I didn't feel safe or what have you? No, there's a difference. The energy is different. Yeah. I tuned into it and I knew that April was my time to launch the next cohort of the Oracle code. It just, there was flow because I'm able to tune into my nervous system. I'm also able to tune into my future and my timeline. And I have 100% I trust my intuition now because of what I do, where I go with my clients. I just really trust it. So I changed that launch. Now that came from the right tension and not from a tension where you retract. That was integration. And integration makes your foundation stronger. Avoidance, however, it tears down your foundation every few months and it starts over. So test yourself. If you stayed exactly where you are right now, if you're exactly where you've been in not even months, in years, yeah, would you need to get more visible, change what you're actually worth, follow through more consistently, or take on more responsibility, or even take off responsibility? Because what I've found is actually when I'm more aligned and I'm more in tune, the action I'm taking, I actually work less. Yeah. So if the answer is yes to any of these, and if you're pivoting instead, that's avoidance. Your capacity determines your ceiling. Number 3, your capacity determines your ceiling. Now, here's something that might challenge you. Success doesn't respond to ambition. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It responds to whether you can actually handle it. And if your nervous system, your stress tolerance, your emotional regulation, and it can't handle the level that you're asking for, you'll sabotage it. Honestly, you'll sabotage it when it arrives. We see this constantly. A lot of the winners who go broke, yeah, within a couple of years. Service providers who panic and underprice when they get too busy. Done it myself. Leaders who self-sabotage right before a breakthrough. Again, done it myself. Entrepreneurs who rebuild from scratch instead of scale what works. Again, done it myself. Went over niche instead of sticking with the same thing and going through the tension, the real tension, the excitable tension, the tension that gets you the change. Now, 6 months ago, I was carrying a lot of internal stress because I was coming to the end of a 10-year relationship. So my body felt tense, my revenue plateaued. Now, however, I'm calm, clear, very happy. And not only have I got a stable income, my income has went through the roof. And I've only had 6 days with zero revenue out of the last 36 days. Now that shift didn't come from a new funnel. It didn't come from a rebrand. I'm still doing the same things. It came from re-regulating my nervous system and becoming internally stable and making the changes that I needed to make and me walking through that tension, regardless of how bloody hard it felt. Yeah. Your business is a system and it reflects your inner state. So when you're regulated, revenue really, it stabilizes. But when you're dysregulated, income, it really gets choppy. You actually go back down. That's what I feel. And you could also, dysregulation, by the way, could be procrastination. Don't think when I'm saying dysregulation that your energy is all over the place. No, it could be you're stuck. You're procrastinating. I know I've done all these things, yeah. And your audience might not say it out loud, but they feel that something's off. I don't know how many people during that time says to me, you, and the messages I got sent, are you okay? Is everything okay with you, Anne? I could feel it. I could see it. I could hear it. Yeah. People know, they feel. Yeah. Sometimes they don't know what it is, but they energetically they can feel it. So let's go into number 4, the perpetual pivot pattern. Now, this section is for the entrepreneur who always chasing the next level. Put my hand up to that. The business owner who reinvents every quarter, the leader who wants growth but is secretly terrified of holding that much responsibility. And here's the pattern. This is what you'll see. You'll hit an income ceiling, you'll feel uncomfortable, you'll change something external and your offer, your brand, your niche, or you'll lose momentum. And you'll lose momentum. You'll start over and then you'll repeat and rinse, and it'll just keep going in that cycle. Where are you at if this is you? And if you don't increase your capacity to handle success, you'll just recreate instability at every new level. It's not a strategy problem, it's a capacity problem. Let's go into number 5, what each actually looks like. Running from growth looks like working late constantly, redesigning your offers every month, changing your messaging repeatedly, scattered energy, shallow, stressed breathing, checking your bank account obsessively, or inconsistent revenue. And I always know when I'm doing this, I'll go and work on websites and funnels. And I know I'm trying to run away. When I do that, I know I'm trying to run away from something, or I'm constantly going into all my bank accounts. Where am I? What am I doing? And moving things, constantly moving instead of just leaving it alone. Now, sustainable growth looks like protected time in your calendar. You know, you've got a focus execution on what matters. Your action list is very aligned, and you flow through it. There's calm, there's steady breathing, there's stable pricing, there's consistent delivery, there's grounded leadership, and there's reliable income. Yeah, you don't need another breakthrough moment. You need to stabilize the level you've already reached. Now, always pause before you pivot and check your body before you rebrand and integrate before you launch something new. Master your current level before chasing the next. Because building a real business isn't just about strategy and tactics. It's about becoming the kind of person who can hold what you're asking for. Because real growth isn't about doing more, it's about becoming stable at the level that you've already created. So here's a question for you. If everything you've been working towards showed up tomorrow, the money, the clients, the visibility, the scale, could you actually handle it? Or would the stress collapse it all? And if you're tired of pivot, reset cycle, you know, you're restarting all the time and you're ready to build sustainable capacity of your next level, come check out Spiritual Awakening Academy over in school. It's a brilliant community. And actually, there's a masterclass in there that shows you what to do in order to stop this. What you need to do to get to that next level, actionable steps on how to do it. Links down below. Yeah, because that's where we focus on integration, not just inspiration. Just click the link below. Come and join us.